All right. Peace. ETM Hotep. Welcome in peace, I should say. This is your brother Wujao Medew, and welcome to our YouTube channel, the Sesh Netcher YouTube channel. Tonight, gonna do a quick one. Don't want to get into anything too deep or too long. Tonight's show is entitled "Take Advantage of the Archives." And so what I want to do is just to kind of give a synopsis of the videos that we have in our archives on our own YouTube channel. And so I titled this show Take Advantage of the Archives because there's a lot of videos that we've done over the years now. We've been making videos for about 2 years, 2+ years now. And so if you go back in our archives, you'll be able to see all the different videos. Of course, they're in chronological order. And so I call this Take Advantage of the Archives because in a lot of our videos, we are actually giving brief tutorials, or we're giving lessons, free lessons on specific topics, or sometimes some things just in general. And they all have to do with the language of ancient Kemet, and in the periphery, the culture overall. Okay. And so there's a lot of things that we've covered over these 2+ years. And so I'm seeing some conversations on social media where people will bring up issues and topics about different things that we've already covered. And, you know, that's not to say that that's bad or anything, because you have new eyes or fresh people that will come into this information, and they just may not be aware of any previous things that have been discussed or covered, and so on and so forth. So, you know, sometimes you have to kind of lead them to where the information is. And so there may be a few people who are just unfamiliar with us because, you know, the Sesh Netcher, we're not a group that is widely known or popular. You know, because we tend to gravitate towards drama and, you know, that exciting stuff. And you know, this kind of stuff, when I say this kind of stuff, you know, the studying of ancient Egyptian culture at the level of detail that we do, you know, it can be described as being boring, and it's not as exciting and as attractive or attracts people to it. Unlike entertainment, drama, battling, fighting, and, you know, those kinds of things. So a lot of our videos may go unseen, therefore unknown. And so what I would like to do is to just give a synopsis of our various different videos. So I'm just going to go through our channel, and I'm going to share my screen with our channel, and I'm just going to give a very brief, as brief as I can, synopsis of the various different videos. I'm gonna try to give like a 1 or 2 sentence statement about the videos, just to give you a synopsis of what, you know, what the content is about in these various different videos. Okay. So again, I appreciate anyone who's tuned in now. You know, shout out to everyone in the chat. I'm not going to be monitoring the chat just yet, but I will, once I'm go through giving a synopsis, I will look at the chat, and don't want to get into anything deep, too heavy. But, you know, if anyone has questions, because also I kind of style this as a ask us anything or ask me anything type of video. Okay. So depends on how fast I get through this. All right. So and also if you all could do me a service, and I'm looking at the chat now, and just press 1. If anybody can press 1, if I can be heard and you all can see my screen clearly. So just let me know. And I know there's a delay, so I'm going to keep on talking, but please let me know if I'm heard and my volume's okay and everything's good to go before I begin. All right. So I know, like I said, I know that there is a delay. And so while we have this delay going real quick, I will be starting a new beginners class group for those who are interested in learning the language on a beginner's level. If this is your first time, you know, wanting to learn the language of ancient Egypt and the writing system, beginner's course is definitely for you. And for those of you who may just would like to have a refresher, you may have taken a course a long time ago, or you may be self-taught in terms of reading different source materials a while ago or recently, and you would like to get in some kind of class setting and walk through a curriculum, a curriculum guided study. So I will be starting a new beginners class group in August. Okay, and August is right around the corner. So I'm going to start advertising that on social media, on Facebook. Okay, so if you're interested, let me know. Like I said, I'm going to advertise and put information where you can go to find out more information, or you can just inbox me. All right. So, all right, and I see a few people push one. Okay, so I appreciate that. All right. So let me just jump into. Well, actually, before I jump into it, this is one of our customary things to do, which is to recite an offering formula. All right, and we've been accustomed to doing it, and we borrowed that custom from Dr. Raketi Amin. When Dr. Raketi Amin starts her sessions and her studies and everything, she usually opens up with the Hotep D Nasut. All right, and so we likewise do the same. And so I will start off and I'll just recite this, and we actually have a video about this as well, and I'll probably get to that. But let me just recite this to kind of set the tone for everything. Hotep D Nasu waser neb jedu, Netcher a neb abju, df peret cheru, ti henket ka apet sesh menchet, ket nebet neferet wabet, anket Netcher im, in kani imaku aku ma cheru. All right. So what I've just recited is this offering formula that you see on the top, the what they call the hieroglyphs, so Sesh Netcher. Beneath that is a diacritic transliteration, and then beneath that is a rough English translation. All right. So, and like I said, we have a whole video on that. All right. But let me just dive in to what it is I want to share with you all. And so remember, the title of this show is Take Advantage of the Archives. So what I'm doing, I'm sharing our channel, our YouTube channel. This is a channel you're on right now, you're watching, but this is our archive videos. And so I'm just going to scroll and just give you a synopsis of what the content is in each of these videos. All right. At least to the best of my recollection, because I'm not going to click on them or play anything. So I'm going to go by the title and just, give you a synopsis. So now the first one here is Freestyle Friday, July 26, 2019. Now, for all the ones that say Freestyle Friday, because we have several that say Freestyle Friday, just to give you an idea of what Freestyle Friday is. Freestyle Friday is something that we started about 2 years ago, and we did it on Friday, and usually we would come on at between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern on East Coast, and what we would do for Freestyle Friday is just like freestyle rap, where you don't write anything down, but in this case we choose an inscription, a picture that someone either sends us, post it in our Facebook group, or inbox us a picture, emails, or something that we find ourselves, and we would take that picture, and then without any resources, without any dictionaries, without any books at all, no glyph list, sign list, anything, we would take a stab at transliterating and translating the text. Okay, we would do something small, nothing too big. It would take up too much time. And so we would call it Freestyle Friday because we would do it straight from the dome, straight from memory. And that's a very, very good exercise to do, because what it does, one, is fun to do. And then two, it allows you to self-evaluate your knowledge, what you know, your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay. And so whether you memorize individual glyphs, what they are, what their possible functions are, or whether you can memorize or you are familiar with full words, And then from full words, you may memorize common phrases and so on and so forth upon sight. So when you see it, you can just call it off from memory. And so it serves as a practice. It serves as fun. It serves as a self-evaluation tool. All right. So that is what Freestyle Friday is all about. Okay. So there's several videos that will say Freestyle Friday. So now that I've explained it, I'm going to skip those. But, so that's what those are all about. And you'll see several of those in our archive. All right. Now, the good thing about that as well is it should encourage people to learn, or if you are interested in learning, the fact that it can be done, the fact that we can read it, the fact that we can have fun with it, and all of that good stuff should be a something that encourages people, to take on this type of study. All right. And for those who doubt, those who say, oh, we can't read it, we don't know it, then it presents itself as a demonstration to refute that claim. All right. So make sure you check those out. But that's what that's all about. Then you'll see a series of videos called AMA, Open Discussion. AMA stands for Ask Me Anything, but it's really Ask Us Anything, because it's a group of us, and we go live in these sessions, and we basically have an open discussion, and we take questions from the chat, or we invite people on the panel. All right. So that's what those are about. It's very simple, very straightforward. Ask me anything or ask us anything. All right. And usually when we say anything, we don't mean anything. We're not going to tell you the secrets of the universe and what took place at the micro milli of a millisecond before the Big Bang occurred, down to the quantum of the quantum level of the subatomic particles, the part of particles. But anyway, so when we say ask us anything or ask me anything, obviously we mean something that's related to the type of focus that we have, which is on the Egyptian language, its writing system, and then more widespread, the culture at large. All right. So that's what that's about. So I'm going to walk through particular videos now. So that's those two series. Oh, and then another series that we have is called Divine Words Wednesdays. And I don't see anything on this first page to show it, but just to give you the heads up on that. Divine Words Wednesday is on Wednesdays we would give presentations. Okay, so we would have something pre-planned, and we would go through some kind of PowerPoint or some kind of presentation where we're actually demonstrating or showing something. All right, and that's what we refer to as Divine Words Wednesdays. Okay, and we will alternate. Different members of the Seshu would have a topic that they would like to share, and put together a presentation and present that information. Okay, so those are our three series: Freestyle Fridays, AMAs, open discussions, and Divine Words Wednesdays. And then one more. So we have four. We have four series. Another series is called Welcome to the Sabaite Dome. And that's what you can see here. You can see it. If y'all can see my cursor, hopefully you all can see my cursor. And forgive me, I know this is a bit small, but I'm just going to talk through this. Welcome to the Sabaite Dome is a fourth series that we have. And on those videos, you'll find where we will take a claim that we've seen in the conscious community or on social media or on YouTube by others. And these claims may grow legs, and it'll be claims that are in error or misinforming people. And we don't really get into whether it's done intentionally or not, but we just focus on making sure that the information is accurate as much as possible and of high quality. Okay. And so when we spot the opposite of that, and if it grows legs and we have time, then we address certain things. Okay. So we call it Welcome to the Sabaite Dome. Now, the inspiration behind the name of that series is, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. It was a movie with Tina Turner and I think Mel Gibson, one of the Mad Max series of movies. And the Thunderdome was this arena where people would fight it out, you know, like a gladiator type of thing. And so that was the movie. And then after that, Public Enemy made a song, Welcome to the Terror Dome. Okay. And so we just kind of took those ideas and have Welcome to the Sabaite Dome. The word Sabaite means instructions or teachings and things related to instructing and teaching. And so when we say welcome to the Sabaite Dome, we're saying welcome to the domain of instructions. Welcome to the domain of teachings. And so we bring these claims within this domain and then we hammer it out. And so that's the concept behind that and why we chose that name for Welcome to the Sabaite Dome. Okay. So those are our 4 series. All right. And that pretty much covers quite a bit of the video. So you know, just to save time, I'm letting you all know what those series are about. Now, on each one of these videos, you will have to check the content of those particular videos out. All right. So now that we have said all of that, I want to just go through a few videos specifically and give you a synopsis of what was being talked about. All right, so if you scroll through, so the first video that stands out is a recent. I'm going in chronological order from the present going backwards. So we have a reason why the meaning of the place name Kemet. Let me get my cursor so I can see this full title. A reason why the meaning of the place name Kemet is an issue, simplified. So in this video, what we're explaining is why this issue that you've been hearing for the past few months, you know, it sparked a vigorous, a debate, argument that's been going on. Why it's even an argument, So what we did, we simplify why there's even an issue, and so in this video is where we show people the concept of homographs, homonyms, and homophones and things like that, and how in the Egyptian language there are several words that would be pronounced Kim. It would be transliterated with a K and an M, and so on and so forth, and how all of those words are not the same word. They're different words. And so we explain why this is a question, because people are under the assumption that there's a word in the language Kim that means black. And so if Kim means black, then Kemet must have something to do with black. So why are people arguing over Kemet meaning either black people or the land of black people or the black land? So people are trying to wrap their mind around it. So we did this video to kind of break that down and let people know. And people are surprised that, wait a minute, Kim does not always mean black. Like the KM that you see, just because you see KM does not mean that it's the one for black. There are other words that are transliterated as KM, and there are words that are identical in the glyphs, and they would be considered homographs. Identical, but they're completely different words. All right, so that's what that video is about. All right, so make sure you check that out. Next one, Wujao and Adrian go live to discuss, what's the rest of this title? The Nation of Kemet. And so in this video, basically, I think I did another video like this too. I am having a discussion with the brother Adrian Jones, Asarim Ka, and, his misunderstanding of 2 of my Facebook posts. And so I in this video, I'm walking through the post to explain what the post is about, and basically giving more information and clarification on the Facebook post, which when it was misunderstood, it sparked a back and forth conversation that was pretty much unnecessary, So I did this video to clarify that and not to keep traveling down that unnecessary path. All right, so that's what that is. And by the way, the post was about Kemet being a riparian country itself, the kingdom itself, And then this form of the word of a word that's also we would pronounce Kemet and transliterate as KMT, referring to Kemet in the abstract as a nation. Okay, so that's basically the gist of what the post was about. But check out the video, for more information. All right, so like I said, I'm just giving these quick synopses so that you'll have an idea of what's what. In this video, we have a June 27th open discussion. In this video, from what I recall, we talked about this famous table of nations that people talk about in Egypt, where Egyptians had the 4 races of mankind. And so in this video, we discuss a little bit of information about that and how it became confusing and why. Okay, so in this video, I break down these 4 ethnic groups, what their names are, and why there's confusion in the first place with this particular picture here. All right, so you definitely want to check that out. Moving down, we have another AMA, and okay, so this particular video is called Discussion and Review. Check out the DIOPS, the Egyptians as they saw themselves, part 1. Okay, and in this video, what we did, we went over check out the DIOPS article in the UNESCO's publication, where the core of a lot of the confusion comes from when it comes to the question on the meaning of the place name Kemet. Okay, and so we went over that, and this is entitled part 1. I think the intention was to do another part. Oh yeah, here's part 2, so I skipped that. So we have part 1 here, and then we have part 2. Okay, so it's 2 parts to this, and that's basically what we're discussing. We're discussing what did Diop say about the word Kemet. What did he say? So we show what he said. We show the book. We walk through the book paragraph by paragraph to show people. And just to give you a quick gist of what we were saying is that Sheikh Anta Diop used the European scholars' logic, and he flipped it on its head, flipped it on them. In other words, Diop was basically saying this, that the Europeans define the word Kemet as the black land. And so they say that it means black land because of the final glyph, what most people refer to as a determinative, and that last glyph points to a country or a city or land or a land where people can live, etc. So the Europeans assumed that the Kim in that word is black, and then you have the determinative, which identifies a city or a country. So the Europeans took that and said, hey, Kemet means black country or black land. And so Diop says, okay, since you all say that, and that's what y'all run with, what about this version of it? And so Diop shows a different version of a word Kemet with a man and woman as determinatives in the word. So Diop is like, well, if you all are saying that this one means black land because you got Kim and then you got the city determinative, as they say, and y'all say, okay, black country or black land, then for this one that I'm showing y'all now, you must agree that it means black people because I'm showing you a man and a woman determinative. And so anyway, so watch the video. We go over all of that and explain how both parties assume that the Kim in the word has to do with black, the color black. All right. So we point that out, and people don't realize that Sheikh Anta Diop did not do the linguistic work or the investigatory work necessary to ascertain the etymology of the meaning of the place named Kemet. He never did that work. Okay, no one has to this date until now. All right, so check out those 2 videos. Okay, moving along. This next video, Kemet as a toponym, a contribution to the debate on the meaning of the place name Kemet. Man, we have talked about this so much, I forget what the specific content of this video, but obviously based on the title, we talked about different elements in the book. Okay, so that's all I could tell you right now for that, because we've pretty much talked about this for the past few months, nonstop almost. Then you have some more Freestyle Friday, so I'm gonna skip those. Freestyle Friday. All right, so now we get into some of the tutorial slash free lessons, and these are important lessons, and this is what inspired me to do this session, this show right now. All right, to remind everybody to take advantage of the archives. Okay. Now this is 7 months ago, so I did a video called Portmanteau Morphs, and so this is a linguistic phenomenon in languages where you got to watch the video. The video is only 39 minutes long, and so I'm giving a very concise lesson on what portmanteau morphs are. Okay, and just to give you a quick gist of a portmanteau morph, let's just use English right now. So in English, we have pronouns, and let's just take one. Let's take she, S-H-E, she. That is a pronoun. Now, when we write it on our paper, we spell it S-H-E. When we say it out loud, we just say she. Now, that's a word or a morph itself, and that's what you see and that's what you hear. But now, what's underlying that morph is what's called morphemes, one or more morphemes. And so the pronoun she actually contains more than one morpheme, but on the surface, all we see and hear is one morph. So what does she represent? She represents third person, because you have in any speech act, you have first person, second person, and third person. Obviously, first person is the speaker or writer. Second person is to whom the speaker or writer is speaking to or writing to. And then third person is a thing or person that's being spoken about. Okay, back in the day when we were small, we say, hey, this is AB conversation, see your way out of it. That's where that comes from. First, second, third person. All right. So the pronoun she represents third person. It represents feminine, gender, and it is singular. So you have PGN, person, gender, number. Person is third person. Gender is feminine, and the number is singular, she. But each one of those are morphemes. Person, gender, and number are three separate morphemes, but they're represented in that one morph, the one word she. Okay, and so this is a situation where we will call it technically a portmanteau morph, which means it represents more than one morpheme. Okay, and so that's what that's about. So check that out, because it's very important to the conversations about the Egyptian language. All right, especially on this place named Kemet. All right, so I want to make sure everybody understands that. Next to that, we have a video called Grammatical Gender. This is also very important. It's only 44 minutes long. Check it out. It's a free lesson on grammatical gender, what it's all about, because people get confused between natural gender, the sex of a person, or a gender of a person, natural gender, and grammatical gender. Okay, so we did a video to discuss that and give some background and a lesson on that grammatical gender. All right. Next to that is the feminine plural and graphic transposition. In this particular video, we give another lesson, on feminine plural in Egyptian language and graphic transposition. And basically what that's about is graphic transposition is when the scribes would transpose glyphs to stay in the aesthetic neatness of how the glyphs look. So in other words, the best way to explain it is that the scribes purposely, for lack of a better way of saying it, they would purposely misspell a word in order to keep the glyphs looking aesthetically pleasing, because the glyphs are written in imaginary quadrats, these imaginary squares and rectangles. And so usually any word that involves a bird, a glyph involving a bird, would have some kind of graphic transposition going on. Okay, so that's explained in that video. And then the feminine plural. How is the feminine plural marked in the glyphs? And what does it mean? And so on and so forth. So check out that video for that full lesson on that. That's actually 2.5 hours. So buckle in and definitely watch that video to get a full idea. Next video is Kemet as a toponym, a brief lesson in toponymy. That speaks for itself. In that video, it's an 1.5 hours long. We walk through what's a toponym, what's an ethnonym, what's a demonym, what's a endonymic toponym or ethnonym, what's an exonymic toponym, and all those variations. So definitely check that out. That is very important to this question on the meaning of the place name Kemet, because Kemet is a toponym. Okay. And that's what we have been dealing with and always dealt with is the place name Kemet. You know, people bringing up all these other Kems and Kemets and all this other kind of stuff is really just muddying the waters of the conversation. The next to that, we have wine labeling in ancient Egypt. Sonet Imiket gives a presentation on wine labeling in ancient Egypt. Very good video that speaks about how these were labeled. These jars and things were labeled, and she gives a nice lesson on how to make that determination and what are those elements. You know, the wine itself, the description, the person who was dealing with it, who it was for, all those different elements. She walks you through that. All right, so definitely check that out. Then we have some more AMA, Ask Me Anything. Have Sabaite Dome, 2 Sabaite Domes. Now, these 2 Sabaite Domes dealt with the brother Zion Lex. Okay, there's some things. Now, let me just take a second to say something regarding Zion Lex. Because when we did his videos, you'll hear me say that I applaud Zion Lex and anybody like Zion Lex who takes the time out to learn the language, because this is what we encourage people to do. And so we understand that Zion Lex has embarked on a journey to learn different elements about the Egyptian language. And so he started by learning on his own. And now he told us later on that he now has a teacher. But he didn't want to reveal who that teacher was. But, you know, the fact that he has a teacher and everything, it's okay. It's good. It's all good. And so, yeah, I applaud anyone who does that. Now, the issue, although we applaud that, there is an issue that comes up, is that Zion Lex is, you know, making claims in regards to the language, okay? And he's positioning himself as a teacher of the language. I've seen some advertisements where, you know, he's positioned himself as a teacher and whatnot. That's where I would have a problem. You know, like I said, on one hand, I applaud him for learning, but on the other hand, I feel that he's prematurely setting himself up as a teacher or anything of that sort, or even trying to debate about the language. Instead of, you know, being humble and disciplined and silent on the matter and go through the learning process and become proficient and competent in language, he's already jumping out there and doing things. And so some of the things that was brought to my attention or our attention, we had time to address. Okay. And so one day I looked over his YouTube channel and kind of looked at some of the things he was saying. in regards to each, Egyptian language, because I don't deal with too much with the back and forth stuff about the Hebrew, all that's biblical stuff. It's like I don't really get into that. That was like years ago for me. I done been there, done that. So I tried to look at a few things that he was talking about as far as the language, and I just spotted quite a few errors in what he was saying, whatever he was doing. And so we addressed it in these two videos, a couple of things, and I couldn't address everything, can't chase everything down, but we addressed just a few things. So that's what those two videos are about. Let's see what else. Next to that, we have, so now on Facebook, I would do Facebook Live every now and then and give a presentation or talk about, or give a lesson. And so this video here is, what do fairies, spirits, and aliens, what do fairies, spirits, and aliens have in common? And you gotta just watch it, because this title should be intriguing enough for you to watch that. All right, because I'm saying they do have things in common, and you got to check out the video to see that. We got some more freestyle. This particular video, we go through the transliteration method. Okay, transliteration method breakdown. This is part 2, so we have part 1 and 2. Okay, so if you ever want to know how the transliterations are done and the systems that involve, check out those 2 videos. All right. Let's see, another freestyle, Divine Words Wednesday. I forget what the title of specifically was, but that's the Divine Words Wednesday freestyle. We have one pyramidal curriculum. Now, what's good about this? It's only 43 minutes long, but we actually have a curriculum that we follow, and it is a progressive curriculum that where people start off on one level and then they gradually make their way and advance to higher levels and more advanced information. And so definitely check out the videos if you want an idea of what we do and why we do what we do. This is our curriculum that we made public, and it's broken up into a 3-tier pyramid, 3 levels, and each level has 3 stages. So altogether is 9 stages, each level having 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and it's progressive. And we likened it to the 3 seasons in ancient Kemet. Okay, we have Akhet, Peret, and Shemu. And so that was how the life cycle in the Nile Valley and the Nile Delta thrived. And so it's the same life cycle of education. So we have a curriculum that is parallel to those seasons and so on and so forth. So check that out, and you'll get information about that. The video next to that is Egyptian Hieroglyphics Simplified Monoliterals. This is a showcase of Sunnet Imiket's book that she authored, which is teaching you how to write the glyphs. And it's a series of books. With book 1, it's the only book that's out now, and it's still available. It's on Amazon, and it's a must-have for everyone. If you take this work serious or not, if you just take it as a hobby, get the book, because it teaches you how to actually draw or write the glyphs. Now, of course, there are over in the Middle Kingdom, there were around 1,000 glyphs, between 750 and 1,000 glyphs. By the time Egypt fell, there was roughly around 7,000 glyphs. So obviously, this book's not going to teach you how to write all 7,000, but it's a series of books that will teach you how to write the major glyphs. And book 1 is about monoliterals. All right, so we showcase that book in that video. All right, this video is about Kemetic yoga. Kemetic yoga postures. Are they actual postures the Egyptians did in ancient times? So I addressed that fully. And what's called aspective versus perspective art. And I explain that in this video and break it all the way down, and how what people are calling Kemetic yoga today is not an ancient practice. As far as the postures and the positions that people use today. Now, that's not to say that it's not beneficial to do those poses and that they're not helpful and all that other kind of stuff. That's not to say. There's 2 different things. The point of this video is to show that what's being practiced today, despite its usefulness today, is not something that was done in ancient times. So we can never make the false claim and say, hey, this is how the ancient Egyptians did X, Y, and Z, when they didn't do X, Y, and Z. Okay, those positions are inspired by aspect of artwork from ancient times, but this is not how people position their bodies or anything like that. So I go through that in the video. Another video about chakras, self-explanatory. Break down chakras and how, the chakra system is not an Egyptian system. It is something that is prevalent in India. Go through that. Next, we have Egyptian hieroglyphs, a quick lesson in adjective. This is part 2. Part 1 is over here. So we got part 1 and part 2. That's a free lesson, and they're quick. It's only 30 minutes long. Okay, part 1 and 2. So I break down pretty much everything there is to know about adjectives and how they behave in ancient Egyptian. Check that out. That's very important because you'll see people make false claims or misconstrue this aspect of the language. And so, watch that video, take notes. You got questions, make sure you join our Facebook group. All right. So those are free lessons. In between, we have a quick lesson on honorific transposition. A lot of people are confused about that. This is only 16 minutes long. Very quick video letting you know what is honorific transposition, and we give examples of it, and hopefully we unclear that confusion about honorific transposition. But just quickly, I'll give you one. The very word mdw-ntr, when people say mdw-ntr, that's honorific transposition. And honorific transposition is only something that takes place in the writing system. It has nothing to do with spoken language. Okay. So it's when a glyph is transposed out of place for purposes of honor. That's why we call it honorific transposition. And so the word for God or deity or divine, and then the names of those divinities or deities, and as well as the king, name for the word for king, is transposed to the beginning of a phrase, even if it's said last or not at the beginning. So the phrase Medew-Netcher. Notice I'm saying Medew first, Netcher second. But when you read it, as you can see on the screen, right here, the Netcher symbol is written first. So if I was to read it how I see it, we would say Netcher Medew, Netcher Medew, but that would be incorrect. It's actually Medew-Netcher, but Netcher is written first out of honor, and that's what you call honorific transposition. Okay, so that's a quick gist of that. Let's see. This video is a 1986 ASCAC research panel where people are having discussion. It includes Dr. Rickety Amen, Jacob Carruthers, Dr. Ben was there, and you see the brother Reggie there. Okay, so definitely check that out. That's video going down memory lane. We put that on our channel to share with everybody who may have not even known about it. All right. Some more open discussions, Freestyle Fridays. This particular book, Majat Club, Goldwasser, week 1, we had started a discussion, and we were going to walk through a book. And this particular video, we walked through 3 hours. We walked through Goldwasser, Orly Goldwasser. And she's a scholar that actually opens the way or paves the way for the description of what most people call determinatives as classifiers. Very good work. She does. She's done very good work in opening that way, and it's a worthwhile subject that we took interest in, and so we started going through her text and basically as a study group. That's what that video is about. Let's see, what else do we have? Another freestyle. Now here's one that's is pretty popular subject. Royal titulary: are there flying crafts and UFOs in ancient Egypt? And so in this, I completely refute the idea that there were spaceships and things in the glyphs. And I explain how those glyphs that people are claiming are spaceships are really titles of king. Two kings in particular, Seti the First and his son, Ramses the Second, the famous Ramses the Great. And both of those kings, famous kings, have long titles. And Ramses replaced his father's title in a few places around the temple in Abydos or Abju. And over time, that fill-in, the filler material, chipped away and came out, revealing the glyphs underneath of it. So you're looking at what's called a palimpsest, where you have two different texts on top of one another, giving the illusion that there's something else. And so that video breaks it all down. All right, so check that out. Let's see. I just realized we have a lot of videos, and it would take me a while, even at the pace that I'm going. So let me just go and point out some that I definitely want you all to make sure you take advantage of. So all the ones that are dealing with lessons. So, but listen, all of our videos have some kind of takeaways in it. But I know people don't have that kind of time on their hands to watch all of our videos. But so I'm just highlighting a few of them now. Okay, this video we see Walter Williams. If you don't know by now already, we wrote a text called Has the Ancient Egyptian Hieroglyphic Writing System Been Deciphered? A Rebuttal to Professor Walter Williams. Okay, like a couple of years ago, Sarasun Seti and Young Pharaoh, they kind of spearheaded this argument that the hieroglyphs have never been deciphered. And where they get that from is Professor Walter Williams. So instead of us addressing Sarasun Seti and Young Pharaoh themselves, we addressed their teacher, the source of that claim. And so we wrote a whole text breaking it all the way down. It's still available on Amazon, and the title of it is Has the Egyptian Hieroglyphic Writing System Been Deciphered? A Rebuttal to Professor Walter Williams. So we walk through his claim that he has an appendix of his book, point for point for point for point for point, and refute every single point that he made, okay, systematically. So definitely check out that book, but that's what this video is about, kind of having a discussion around that. Here's another Chakras and Kemet. Mind you, this is 2 years old. Now listen, this is 2 years old. I haven't been telling y'all how long ago these videos are, but this is 2 years old. The Walter Williams one I mentioned, Chakras and Kemet, 2 years old. And then we have more Freestyle Fridays of specific text, so we got that. It's 2 years old. And let me see, skipping on down. We have a lot of Freestyle Fridays. Welcome to Sabayit Dome. Freestyle Fridays. Okay, this is a good video here. The different functions of the hieroglyphs. And so this is very, very important to people to understand, because completely unlike English, our English alphabet, every single character in the English alphabet is a phonograph. It simply represents sounds in the English language. Well, the hieroglyphs are not only can function as phonographs, but they can also function as logographs, which means that a glyph can represent a full word. And then on top of that, they can also function as what we call semantemes, which means that they have no phonetic value. They're not transliterated and they're not pronounced, hence no phonetic value, but they have meaning value. They convey meaning, and we call that semanteme. But others call it a determinative because it helps determine the meaning of words. And so that's a good video to bring you up to speed about what that's all about. This is a good video, Egyptian geography, because people are confused about what does it mean by Upper and Lower Egypt? How come Lower Egypt is north and Upper Egypt is south? When I'm saying lower, I would think down, and upper, I would think up. But on the map, upper is down and lower is up. Oh, I'm confused. Straighten that out for me. So we explain what that's all about. Okay. What it means, how the Egyptians orientated themselves. Because today, if you were to close your eyes right now and I say the word Africa, the continent, you would picture Africa orientated a certain way, where South Africa would be at the bottom, and then places like Morocco and Libya are at the top, and right by the Mediterranean Sea, near Italy, the boot. And so that's how we orientate ourselves, where Africa right now to us is east, California's to the west, and on our left-hand side, Africa is on our right-hand side, and everything like that. Well, the Egyptians had the opposite orientation. To the Egyptians, America would be on their left-hand side, on their right-hand side. India would be on their left-hand side. And our cardinal point south would be in front of them, and our cardinal point north would be behind them. Anyway, all of that is explained in that video, so check that out. Let's see, skipping around. Let's see. Here's another Divine Words Wednesday about royal titularies and UFOs. That was 2 years ago. So you see, sometimes we even repeat, even in our own archives. All right. Let's see what else. Divine Words Wednesday. Okay, I believe this. Yeah. So here's the one I mentioned. This is 2 years ago as well. Where we break down the offering formula. What does it mean? Why the offering formula is so prolific in ancient Egyptian culture? And so we break down the one I recited, and then the elements of all offering formulas and how they differ. Some of them are shorter than others, and some of them are very long. Okay, so we break all that down. Let's see what else. And you see some videos where, we're talking about the hieroglyphs being deciphered or not. So we showcase the book here. We compare it side by side with Professor Walter Williams' book versus our book. And so you see several videos leading up to that topic and breaking it down. Because what happens is, a lot of times in the social community, when scholars are arguing, opposing views and arguments, a lot of people are confused about it. And so people are left with who they like the most. Because they like person X, they're going to just roll with person X. Regardless however wrong the person is, they're just going to roll with it because they like them, and they may like the way they look, or the way they sound, or the fact that they can be passionate about what they're saying and whatnot. So what we do consistently is we try to educate the public to bring them up to speed on the issues, at least at a basic level, so that they could follow along and they could discern the quality of information and not all the other hoopla and drama. Okay. And so likewise, back then we did the same thing with whether the hieroglyphs have been deciphered or not. All right. And so I'm just going to stop there. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if anything jumps out and grabs me. Here's a video of my daughter. Back then, this is 2 years ago. And the video, we uploaded a video 2 years ago. It's only about 4 minutes long, where she's counting Sesh Netcher numbers 1 to 10. And she basically redid a video that she did when she was 9 years old. My daughter has a video out that most people had a chance to see. They probably never knew that she was my daughter. So she did it. So she did it again. She's older, and this is even old. And here's another video of her where she's breaking down. Here's the original video, counting 1 through 10, of her counting 1 through 10 when she was 9. She did a video breaking down gender and number. How we have Sen would be brother, Senwi would be 2 brothers, Senu would be more than 2 brothers, the plural of that, and so on. So she breaks that down in this video, the numbers in this video, and that's her again. Here's a video. Brother Antoine took a trip to Egypt, and he came back and gave us, his presentation and showcase and his pictures, shared his pictures with us. A very good video if you want to check that out. What else? I mean, there's a lot. The Maxims of Ptah Hotep. Very, very good video, or very good text, period. We did a video dealing with the Maxims of Ptah Hotep. We have a video talking about ancient Egyptian grammar in general, and we're talking about collective nouns. So this is a video dealing specifically with collective nouns. All right. And just for those who may not know or forgot what collective nouns are, it's like words like army. Like when I say army, I'm talking about several soldiers, but I'm speaking about those several soldiers as one unit. So I say the army. I'm going to join the army. So I'm speaking about it in a singular, grammatically singular, but I'm talking about a group. So that's what a collective is. So we talk about that. Let's see. We also have some videos where we are breaking down the difference between hieratic and hieroglyphic, as scholars like to split those two. Now, 2 years ago, we had our first discussion about the meaning of the place name Kemet. This was 2 years ago. And so this is old to us. And so in here, we're talking about what Diop said about it, and then we are bringing all the information up to date. And this was 2 years ago. So if you want to see what we were saying 2 years ago, go check out this video right here. All right. So none of this stuff is new. So when people bring it up now, we're trying to tell people, listen, go to our videos. So I'm going to stop there. I just gave a quick synopsis of several of these videos. And the whole point is, I just want you all to understand, to take advantage of our archives. We have some valuable, beneficial information that you can learn from, and just check it out on your own time. Share it with everyone. That's why it's there. And I want to stress this because we don't have time to constantly repeat ourselves over and over and over again about stuff that we've already addressed. And so what you'll see us do is that when people bring up a subject that we've already talked about, especially if they're trying to bring it up in an adversarial way, like trying to debate and intellectually fight and all this other kind of stuff, we're just pointing people to the videos. Okay, it's like, go check out a video. Okay, the feminine T. Okay, we got a video on grammatical gender. Check that out first, then come talk to us. And so that's where we are. So, I don't want people to think that we are just blowing people off, but you got to understand, a lot of these videos are over 2 years old. And so we're saying, listen, that's why we did the video. Go check it out. All right. So with that said, I don't want to be too long, but I will check out the chat right now. And I appreciate anybody who's tuned in. And if you have any questions, I'll see, I'll do my best to answer a few of them. If I don't know the answer, that's what you will definitely hear from me. I don't know. And I think that's the hardest phrase for a lot of people to say. A lot of people just can't say, I don't know. But so I'm going to check out the chat. And so thank you for your time up to this point. And make sure you spread the word. Check out our archives. Take advantage of it. Once you do watch one of our videos, if you got a question, hey, hit any of us up. Join our Facebook group. Don't be scared either. Don't be scared, passive, timid, and all the other kind of stuff. We don't bite. We're not the group. Listen, we're not the group that gets involved in that petty drama stuff. If you come to our Facebook group, it's like night and day with some of these other platforms. Okay, we keep it professional. We keep it mature. We keep it scholastic, scholarly, all that good stuff. Okay. To the point where if anybody tried that stuff, it would stick out like a sore thumb. It just wouldn't even feel right to that person who's trying to bring drama and the pettiness that we've seen, especially as of late. So anyway, if y'all have any questions, just go ahead and type them in. So I'm gonna check out the chat now, and I know that there's a delay. So I will give a couple of shout outs for those who are watching. And see, that's the thing. See, because I'm not dealing with drama and petty stuff. You know, we don't get those 500 viewers and 750 viewers all at one time. This is the nerdy stuff. So we this is the nerdy channel. So welcome to the nerdy channel. All right. Welcome to the nerdy channel. So let me scroll up and see if anybody had some questions before. Let's see. Okay. Flint Martinez says, at some point in the near future, can you go in on the symbolisms of the cobra, vulture, and or the hawk? I said Hulk. The hawk. Okay, that's good. Listen, this is to Flint Martinez. If you're on Facebook, if you use Facebook and you're not a member of our Facebook group, make sure you join our Facebook group. In the description of our videos, we have the link to our Facebook group. Join it so that you can, chime in on these conversations, because a lot of times we talk about these things and it's really good for people to read through. But yeah, that's a good suggestion. We could do that. We could definitely do that. The symbolism behind the cobra and the vulture. But for now, let me say this: the cobra was used and referred to a deity called Wajet, and she was the protectress, patroness deity of Lower Egypt, and by lower I mean the Delta. So she was the patroness deity of the Delta, and then you have a vulture deity called Nekibet, who was the patroness, protectress deity of Upper Egypt or the Valley. And always remember this: when people say the Nile Valley culture, they're leaving out one of the lands. Remember, Egypt was called Tawi. Tawi is a dual word for Ta. Ta meaning land or region. And then the we is a masculine dual, making the word masculine and dual. And so Tawi means two lands. And so when people say the Nile Valley, they only talk about one. They're forgetting about the Delta. Because when the Egyptians talked about Tawi or two lands, they're talking about the Delta and the Valley. Two different environments. If you live there, you will see that it's completely different. Okay, the landscape, how people lived and everything like that was different in the Delta from in the Valley. All right. So we should always say Nile Valley and Nile Delta culture. Got to put them together. But anyway, so you got Nekibet and Wajet. So that's that. Let's see. Keep on going down. Okay. Ni Usser Ray or Ni Usser Ra KM. He said, I haven't retained 100%, but I definitely have been watching all of them. Wasted years on Sonata, so it's a beacon of light. Okay. Yeah, just check out our archive, Check out our archive. Sarah Jahudi, I share those same sentiments when it comes to retaining the information. However, I personally don't think Sa was a waste. He's necessary for starting my journey. Yeah. Everybody has their journey and how they came into, quote unquote consciousness and a conscious community and so on and so forth. So yeah. Let's see. I'm just going through see, look for any questions that people have. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, can you speak on how in Kemet we could go to war but also live Ma'at? Respect. Okay, that's a good question. And like I said, I want to keep this video brief, so I'm gonna give you a short and skinny answer for now. Now I appreciate the question, but I'm gonna say this: the reason why that question is asked, not only by you, but other people have brought that up as well, is because a lot of people have a misconception of what Ma'at is. And so we tend to think that Ma'at is this benevolent, passive, rosy, peachy, perfect, paradisey type of concept, and that's not what it's about. Think about this. Just on the surface, like this is without knowing anything about the language or anything from anything. Let's just use today and English. If I say truth, 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 and true and truth, you'll hear people say, the truth is sweet in the mouth but bitter in the stomach, or vice versa. You know, it's bittersweet. The truth is bittersweet, and tell the truth no matter what. And the truth has no feelings. It cares nothing about your emotions, and so on and so forth. So I bring that up because people understand that truth is not persuaded by how you feel or your judgment of it, your likes and dislikes. Truth is truth. And so when people translate the word ma'at as that which is true, then people should have an understanding that it's not always rosy and peachy. Just like if I tell you the truth, it may be something that you just do not like and will completely upset you. But that doesn't take away from the fact that that's the truth. Okay, now I say that because when people ask a question, can a king kill or go to war and kill people and still exercise ma'at? The answer is emphatically yes. Because ma'at is not some rosy, peachy, turn the other cheek type of concept at all. And like I said, now this can get into a long conversation, but I'm gonna give you a very short and skinny piece of information. Ma'at is a matrix of concepts that are unified under this term ma'a and ma'at. Ma'a being the masculine, ma'at being a feminine. And ma'a meaning true, and ma'at meaning that which is true. And so when we say that, though, we're talking about the journey from one point to another in a straight line. So to reach one point to another in a straight line and the journey to get there. So ma'at represents the journey itself and the result, the conclusion, the finish line. And so from the journey and the finish line, you have a trajectory that's a straight line. And this straight line that got you to the truth or real, because the word ma'a also means real, that which is real. Truth and real are synonyms in the Egyptian conceptualization. So in order for you to get to something that is real, you have to start your journey and then finish it. And when you look back, you have completed a straight line. This straight line becomes equivalent or analogous to our ruler or guide. This is why guides have straight sticks, or rulers are made of straight pieces of wood. And we base our straight lines off of rulers and our measurements off of rulers, because these set the standards. And this is why ma'at can be translated as law, which is a foundation to set standards for behavior in a society. This is where these semantic extensions come into play. But what ma'at really deals with is the interconnectedness and interrelationship between all things. And these connections form a web of straight lines, like a spokes on a wheel. And so that's all it is. And so a king, to represent this structure, has to defend it. Because what happens is, in existence, you have entropy, and you have or let me say it more simply, you have order, and then you have chaos. But people think chaos is evil and order is good, but that's not what it's about. These are two necessary components of existence. Because chaos is really not bad. It simply means unordered, undifferentiated, having no form. That's why chaos is referred to as an abyss. This kind of just randomness. And then order. When you think of order, you think about structure. You think about something that is sequential, something that is has some kind of form to it, and so on and so forth. And so the king could go to war to either defend structure or establish structure and order. So defending the structure of communities, which will be ma'at, or establishing those structures and orders. Okay, and so it has nothing to do with the act of killing and fighting itself. It has everything to do with what I'm saying. And like I said, there's a lot more to it, but I'm just giving a gist of it to kind of at least give you some clues and maybe some things that will trigger you to follow up and look up. All right, but keep that in mind. Ma'at is not about good and evil. People translate ma'at as truth and or order, and isfet as chaos or whatever the case is, and they try to pit it as good and evil. That's not the thing. That's not what's going on there. Even in the judgment scene, I wish I had one that I could quickly show you all. Even the judgment scene where you see the scales of quote unquote ma'at. Next to those scales, you will see a beast, an amalgamated animal that is part lion, part hippopotamus, and part crocodile, and whatever else. It's an amalgamated animal. And her name is Amamit or Amit. And it is the feminine form of the word am or am, which means to devour or to eat. And so her name means she who eats or devours. And so, and what the idea is that she will eat your heart if you do not pass judgment, or if you fail at being judged, and you were judged unfavorably. She would eat your heart. But that's not literal. No monster is going to eat anybody's heart. And the heart is not even really representative of a heart. It represents your mind. And so what that animal actually represents is what we call today conscious. You're conscious, not conscious as in being aware, awake, but you're conscious, which is the feeling of guilt. Because when you do something wrong, you do something wrong. And only you know that because you can't lie to yourself. You're the only person that can bear witness to your own thoughts. You can never lie to yourself, but you can lie to others. And so what happens is when you do something that you know is wrong by your standards, that will eat you up inside, and we call that guilt. And you feel this sense of guilt. Okay? And so I just want to kind of add that in the mix a little bit, so you kind of understand that ma'at is not about good and evil, and all that other kind of stuff people want to make it out to be. Okay, so anyway, hopefully I touched on enough for you. Like I said, that's a whole conversation. All right, so I got time for like two more. I don't want to go too much. Let's see where I leave off at. Where was that question? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm at that question. Okay. Remember, sleep is for the weak. Oh, Bud John says, do you accept donations? And if so, what method? Yes, we do. And the thing is, we're in the near future, I'm going to set up something formal for the group in terms of research, because people don't really realize, man, it costs a lot of money to research, to buy resources, books, reference materials. Like, for example, there's a 4-volume book set that costs around $1,300 that is indispensable. Like it is something that is very important in Egyptology. It's one of those thick hardback older books that they don't have in the bookstores, and it's expensive. $1,300 just for that 4-volume set. No, I think it's 7-volume set of books. But there's a lot of books out there. I pride myself on having a whole lot of books. I mean, I have all the dictionaries, and I have a lot of resources, but there's a lot that we don't have access to, readily access to, you know. And in terms of ordering primaries, you know, facsimiles of primaries, you know, we don't want scholars rewritten redrawings and sloppy photography of this, that, and the third. We want the real deal. We want quality. We want high resolution, you know, 300 DPI or bigger and greater of different text, of tombs and things like that. That all that stuff costs money. Costs money. So you know, I say all that to say that, yeah, we're going to set up something formally in the near future, but for now, if you want to donate, you know, we don't have, and matter of fact, I know they have this super chat on YouTube that we never used before, but even that, you know, YouTube takes a cut. They take, I forget what percentage they take of that. But let me say, so you know, so to answer your question, we're gonna set up something formally so people can donate to a research chest, you know, to help fund some more research, because people don't realize is that we're not funded. You got these scholars out here, these people who are backed by institutions, grants, people are paid to do research. We're not, and it's not about being a poor righteous teacher in 2019. You know, time is money, and people got families to you know, deal with, and just personal living to deal with, and so we can't just set aside and neglect our regular parenting duties and stuff like that just to give information away for free all the time. We can't do that, you know. So we're gonna set up something formal, but I do want to say this though. Me right now, I do have something going on. In terms of a fundraiser. And so I volunteered myself to help raise funds for back to school supplies. Okay. So I do have a GoFundMe that I started, myself and some other parents, and we're just trying to get school supplies for the children that's going back to school August, I think the first week of August. And so we've been doing a drive for almost a month now. And each one of us doing it our own way. So I just decided to do a GoFundMe and just tell people about it and see, you know, if people can donate. And not too many people donated, you know, or whatever. But so if you would like to help out in that area, whatever, matter of fact, let me post a link. I can post a link for you all if you all want to help out. Anything helps out. But you can read what it's about. So I'll put that up real quick here. And let me see if I can find it, and I'll put it in the or if one of the moderators, if y'all have the link, you could post it for me. But I'm gonna look in the meantime real quick. And you know, so you know, just to again reiterate, you know, this particular drive is for school supplies for local students. So what we did, we want to help out 50 children. And then there's other parents doing the same thing. So it'll end up being a lot of children altogether. But let me post that link for you all. It's for a good cause, and you know, I'm sure everybody who's a parent is, you know, is also getting school supplies for their children. But you know, consider that too. Consider whether this year or during the year, get together with other parents and raise money, because buying these school supplies in bulk is way better. A lot cheaper and better. And all right, so let me post this up. So give me a second. Excuse the dead silence, which I do not like. It's for a good cause, and and I'm hearing myself. All right, so I'm gonna post this link up, and I'll get back to the chat. So I'll take a few more questions. Okay, somewhere Tiba has posted it, so I appreciate that. Dua for that. And I posted it as well, so appreciate that. All right. But yeah, but we do need a war chest. We need a war chest because we are challenging, not only challenging existing claims about Egypt, but we want to expand the knowledge. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of work to still be done. A lot of work to still be done. I'm still working on a grammar book that I hope to have published by this fall, coming up. And that's a very daunting, meticulous and, what do you call it? Tedious thing to do. But I mean, it's going good. I'm actually happy about it. But it's, not published yet. So I won't be fully happy until I actually publish it. All right. So let's get back to these questions here. Let's see. Anything else? Let's see. Keep going down. Okay. Can you speak? Oh, okay. I already did that one. Let's see. Keep going down. Okay. So, Nisu. I'm sorry. Ni Wesara Kaim. The same in nature, but different in degree. Okay. I wasn't confused about the topic at all. Just wanted to hear you go in respect. Okay, yeah. I wasn't saying you were confused. I'm just giving in terms of I'm just giving the because a lot of times when I answer questions, I don't answer specifically to the person asking the question. I make sure I keep in mind that there's an audience that's listening and could watch this in the archives. So I try to cover a few things at one time. I like to plant two trees with one seed, as they say. So a lot of people say kill two birds with one stone, but that's killing. Like I rather go on the flip side of that and say plant two trees with one seed. So I'll say one thing, but I'll try to cover many things by saying that one thing. Let's see who else. Okay, Fitzroy says cause and effect or good and bad in both concepts. They are one and the same thing, right? It only becomes good or bad by a person's personal interpretation. Yeah, well, good and bad are subjective expressions, just like hot and cold. What's hot to you may not be hot to the next man. What's cold to you may not be cold to the next man. But if you express that same sentiment objectively, by giving a temperature and you say 80 degrees, then there's no argument. There's no subjectivity with that. It's 80 degrees. It is what it is. Now, if you think 80 degrees is cold, then that's people say, well, that's your opinion. That's your prerogative. That's your subjective view. But nobody can argue that it's 80 degrees. You see what I'm saying? So there's two ways to express things. And the more that people express things objectively, the less arguments that take place, the better the communication is. And so we have to become a society to learn, or a community that learns how to express ourselves objectively. In order to do that, we have to get back into mathematics, because mathematics is a universal language of objectivity. And science provides evidence. Science is the domain of evidence. Math is the domain of logic. And we have to get back to that. Okay. And trust me, the quality of conversations will be a whole lot better. What else? Somebody asks, why do prokaryotes reproduce? Yeah, so you're on the wrong channel for that. You're on the wrong channel for that. This is not biological evolution. Although we can talk about that, but not on this channel, not here right now. All right. Let's see. Anything else? Nah, I guess there's nothing else. Okay. So cool. I don't want to keep this video long. I just wanted to kind of remind people, take advantage of the archives. Listen, watch our video. And another thing, let me make these disclaimers as I close out. The Seshu Mani Medew Netcher, we push good character, we push good communication, we push anti-microwaving of information, We push, or we are anti-microwaving of information. We push rigorous study. We push scientific literacy, and specifically to Kemet, we are pushing people to learn the language at least on a basic level before you jump out the window and try to make claims and argue and do too much. You know, put yourself out there too much. All right. We welcome criticism. We welcome information to be shared, and all of that good stuff. Okay, and just that. So we don't enable folks. We don't enable people to be lazy. We don't enable people to continue with any bad character and things like that. We are against all of that good stuff. All right. We do not attack elders. We deal with information, and our number one obligation is to the truth. That's why we call ourselves Seshu Ma'a. The word Ma'a, as I said, means real. It means true. And those semantic scope of those words, real and truth. You know, it also is a word for loyal. Because that you can only be loyal to something that is solid, that is true. That's where loyalty comes from. That's where law, loyalty, all those different terms come from things that are anchored in reality. So you have reality, real, true, law, all those kinds of words. They kind of packaged up into the same semantic scope for these words. So the Seshu Ma'ani Meta Netcher, we are loyal scribes of divine words, aspiring to be true scribes of divine words. So we are still learning as well. So we don't claim to know everything, but we do know what we know. All right. And if we don't know, we'll disclose the fact that we don't know. All right. We're not infallible. Nobody, when they say nobody's perfect, what people mean by that is the word perfect means to be complete. And no human being on the planet Earth that's alive can be perfect. Why? Because you're not complete until you're dead. It's not until you're dead that you are complete. Every day that you wake up, every day that you're breathing, you are still on your journey. You're still capable of learning. And so you can never be complete. And so that's why it is said that there's no human being that is perfect. So if you want to see perfection, go to a cemetery. And who is the Lord? This is some sidebar stuff. Who is the Lord of the dead in Egypt? Osiris, or Wasir. And what is one of his epithets that people like to use and throw around? The Lord of what? The perfect black. And he is the foremost of the Westerners. Westerners meaning those people who are dead, because the deceased, where they live, is in the West. And the West represents the completion of life, because as the sun rises in the east on the left-hand side of the Egyptians, it travels and it sets in the west, but on their right-hand side. So when they step forward with their left foot, they're beginning the journey, and when they complete the journey, they step forward on their right foot to signify completion. And so, like, you see some of these different things positioned this way, and even today's modern society, such as the Masonic order and stuff, they, there's this subtle connection with those concepts. Left, right. They start off on the left. Any of the traveling men who are listening definitely know what I mean. You step up on you step off on your left. But anyway, so I'm just saying that we're not perfect, okay? And we're learning. We're on a journey, and we welcome critique. We welcome correction as well. If you see something and we said something in error or whatever case is, hey, bring it to us, because with us, we're obligated to the truth, no matter how it makes us feel. All right. So with that, I don't want to keep rambling, and I'm gonna say dua for checking out the show. Remember, take advantage of the archives, dig into them, pull them apart, Have some questions. I dare you to find mistakes. Let me put it that way, because people like drama, right? People like excitement and people like that. So let me put out this dare. I dare you. I triple double dare you to find mistakes. if that's gonna get you to watch them, then so be it. But anyway, on a serious note, we don't get involved with that drama, that little silly stuff. All right, you got people running around here, not even qualified to speak clear English, that's trying to challenge people in debates. And we don't get down like that. We want professional, mature discussions on these matters, because it's a lot to learn. There's a whole lot to learn. All right. So anyway, appreciate it, everybody. And I will see y'all next time. All right. So Shem Hotep.